welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm going to be doing my February Shop My Stash and Palette of the Month. So I'm going to start off by doing a quick recap of the items that I pulled for my January rotation, which if you watched that video is a little short. By the time I got it up and edited, it was mid-January, so it was only about a 2-week rotation. But this one will be for the entirety of February, so hopefully I'll get a chance to use everything a little bit more than I did last month. I will get to that in just a second. If you're wondering what I did to my hair, I had tried the heatless bathrobe curls with the scarf and it worked better than the last time, but my hair is so short that it didn't turn out quite as well as I'd hoped. But I don't look like a poodle, which is what happened the last time I did it, so we're gonna call it a success and I can only improve my heatless curl game from here. With that out of the way, I'm also wearing my February palette of the month pick on my eyes, and it's definitely out of my comfort zone. I am quite picky about pinks and I would normally never wear like a baby pink on my eyelids, but I don't hate it. Having said that, I am going to do my quick recap and then we will hop over to my makeup drawer and start pulling some items. So I think probably the main event was my palette of the month pick, which was the Melt She's in Parties, which is one of my absolute favorite palettes. I love this one so much, and I didn't get as creative with it as I had hoped. I went back to classes this month and I have 8:30 classes for the first time in a couple of years, so I'm still sort of adjusting to being awake and functional at that hour because I haven't had classes before 10 a.m. in probably 2 years, so it's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment. So because of that, I had a few more rushed mornings than I would have liked, and I kind of ended up reaching for this but defaulting to my go-to look, which is the first two. Let me show you actually, which is, sorry if I'm blinding you, also sorry if you can hear the seagulls or the wind outside. For some reason all of the seagulls are hanging out, and that's a little bit of maritime ambiance for you, I suppose, that nobody asked for. So my go-to look is, struggling in screen mirroring here, these two in the crease, and then Strange Love all over the lid and Skeleton Kiss on the inner corner. So that was sort of my go-to look with this palette, but I did have, I think, one day where I did something a little bit different, where I put She's in Parties, which is this really gorgeous burgundy right here, all over the lid, and then blended it out with these two. I think going forward I would definitely do that again, but I think it was a little bit too much for like a Thursday. So I think if I were to do that again, I would probably use the lightest matte, which is, yeah, Total Immortal, which is like that sort of lilac matte, to blend that out instead of going really heavy on the lid and the crease, especially because I have smaller eyes and it just kind of closed them in. But it was really intense and dramatic, and I did enjoy it, but I think I definitely could improve upon that going forward. Yeah, so I do really love that palette and I always enjoy using it. So even if it was a little bit briefer, I have had this one for a bit. So yeah, definitely glad to have gotten a chance to use it a little bit more. I wish I could say that for all of the items in here. So I guess we'll start off with the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Concealer. My opinion of this has not changed since I pulled it into my January Shop My Stash. I do really enjoy it. I think it looks really nice and natural. It is too light for me, and I have not taken myself out to a drugstore to try to find something that will tone it down, and it's not as bad in person. I think it's just because when I'm filming, I'm sitting in front of my window, and so there's a lot of natural light coming in and it can kind of wash me out a little bit. So I think that kind of does make this look a little bit more intensely too light for me than it is. It's really not that noticeable in person. So I did definitely use that quite a bit and I have really enjoyed it, and I think the formula is fantastic and it does work really nicely on me. The only thing that I will say is that I did try setting it down with the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil setting powder a couple of times. This has, I mean, I think it's technically supposed to be translucent, but like it does have a little bit of color to it, and I was hoping that that might tone down the whiteness of the concealer a little bit, and it didn't really do anything noticeable, but it did definitely make my under eyes look a lot more dry and textured. So definitely tried it, didn't work out, probably wouldn't do it again. So with that, I also pulled in the Milani Powder Rose Blush, and this is in Tea Rose, and this is a really nice like everyday pink. I think it was nice to have in, like I said, for those sort of rush mornings where I didn't want to mess around with a powder blush or having to blend out some of my darker blushes. I was able to just slap it on and go, which was kind of, I guess, the mood for the first couple weeks of school. So definitely did enjoy that, and I do continue to like using it up, and there's so much product in it, so I barely made a dent. But yeah, definitely did enjoy pulling that in. I also pulled in the Becca Highlight in Prismatic Amethyst, which is this kind of lilac-y color, and I really do like this. I haven't used it a ton because I think it's one of those ones that doesn't go with every single look. If you've seen my Pandas eyeshadows, I got a bunch of blues and a couple of oranges, and unfortunately this doesn't really work with either of those, but I did get a chance to use it a couple more times, and I do really enjoy the formula, and I think it's really pretty and a little bit different. I definitely did enjoy it, and I'm glad that I reached for it. One that I can't say that I reached for though was the ColourPop Super Shock in Flexitarian. This is definitely one of the brightest highlighters I own. It's a very metallic silvery color, and I do enjoy it. I find that these take a little bit more work, and like I said, with busy mornings, I just kind of wasn't feeling like putting in the effort to reach for this, so unfortunately I didn't use that at all, but it'll probably end up going into my Shop My Stash for February. Hopefully it'll get used a couple times there. Another one that I also didn't use was the Sephora Liquid Lip Cream in Blackberry Sorbet, and okay, now we've got a helicopter. Classic. Anyway, so I didn't end up using this one at all either, which I'm kind of sad about because I do enjoy a good dark lip, but I think I just kind of kept on forgetting, or it wasn't something that I wanted to fuss with 2 minutes before I had to be in class, especially because I've had this for a bit and it is getting a little bit dried up and harder to use. So yeah, didn't end up using this at all, but again, it's one of those things that might just end up getting rolled into my next one because my next palette of the month will definitely, I think, work with this. So yeah, so that's my recap. Oh, I also did use the Essence lip gloss quite a bit. It was just sort of my go-to for putting something on quickly before class, or if I felt like I needed a little bit of hydration. I don't know, I'm not a big lip gloss person, but I definitely don't hate that formula. I don't find it to be too sticky. It is maybe a little bit lighter than I would have liked, but I purchased it in person, so that's my own fault. But yeah, I do definitely like it, and it does definitely plump up a little bit without being too intensely painful. And I think that basically concludes the items that I pulled. So I am going to put you guys over to my makeup drawer, and we will pull my palette of the month and my next batch of items. Hi guys, welcome to my makeup drawer. If you're wondering what's on my nails, this is Brighten by Zoya. And it looks pretty boring in the cloudy light that we have going on here, but it is actually a really pretty hollow in the sunlight or under artificial light. But anyway, so let's get started. So I am going to be pulling the ABH Norvina palette for my palette of the month for February. And I figured this was really nice for Valentine's Day because it has those kind of soft pinks and purple vibes. And this is also quite new to me. I got this for Christmas. So I haven't really used it a whole lot. I've used every shade, I think a maximum of 3 or 4 times. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting some more use out of this and just getting a chance to play around with it. I know that I am about 2 or 3 years late on the bandwagon, but I have really enjoyed it so far, and I am looking forward to getting a chance to use it more. As I said in my last one, I'm going to keep this in here just so that it doesn't get knocked over. I feel like my palettes are much safer in my drawer. Let's start pulling things. So I'm definitely going to keep the Rare Beauty concealer in. And then I think for blushes, I do have a blush in my project pan that I do need to work on more, but I also kind of want to use this Bare Minerals Gen Nude blush, and this one is in You Had Me at Merlot, and it's really pretty. It gives you a kind of nice flushed look like you've been out in the cold, so really do enjoy this. Haven't used it a ton, and I think now is a good season for it, so I'm going to pull this in as well. And then, you know what, I think I'm going to keep the Milani Rose powder blush in as well. I think that that would also be good with like the soft pinks of the Norvina, so yeah, I think I am going to keep that in. And then for highlighters, this is kind of a tough decision. I think that what I am going to do is grab the Wet n Wild Hello Halo. This is the liquid one, and it is in, I think mine is in, yeah, Halo Goodbye. And I really like this. This is one of my favorite highlighter formulas, and because I've been so busy trying to finish off the Mary Luminizer, I haven't reached for this a ton, so I think that this would be nice Again, because I really like it, but also because it does have a nice pinky sort of color to it. So yeah, I'm gonna grab that as well. And then I feel kind of badly about ignoring Flexitarian last time, so I think I'm gonna roll this in as well. For lips, I do have a basic pink color in my project pan, but I do know that I haven't worn red in a while, and this is the KVD Everlasting Liquid Lip in Outlaw, and I absolutely love these. I'm quite picky with my liquid lipsticks, but this is one of my favorite ones by far, and I haven't worn this in a while, so I think I'm gonna roll this in. I feel kind of badly that I didn't use the dark one that I rolled in as well, so I think I'm gonna pull this too. I do really like this, and it is getting pretty dried up, so definitely would like to get some use out of this. And I think the Essence Plumping Lip Gloss as well. Is this too many lip products? Oh, you know what I should pull if I'm going to use a darker lipstick? I think that this Annabelle lip liner in Boysenberry I think would probably be a good addition too. This is not working super well. It's pretty old, but I want to get as much use out of it as I can before I do end up either finishing it or decluttering it. So yeah, I think I'm going to pull that in as well, and I think that that will probably end up doing me for this rotation. Yeah, you know what? I think that that is going to be it, and all of a sudden my drawer looks a lot less chaotic. So yeah, I think that is going to be everything that I need, and like I said in my first video, I'm not restrictive to this specific basket, so if there is a day where I'm using, say, Celestial, which is like the purple in the Norvina palette, this one right here, so if there is a day where I'm using this and I did want to pull in the Becca Prismatic Amethyst instead, I could totally do that. Anyway, so I think that that is probably sufficient, especially because February is a little short. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to call this sufficient, and I will catch you guys in March with my palette of the month update and next round. Thanks for watching. Bye!